Looking at all the crimes of Republicans in politics kind of proves that money doesn't belong in politics. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. A literal madman is no longer in charge of America's nuclear arsenal. I mean, just let that sink in. A literal fulminating racist is no longer in charge of the police apparatus of our nation. A man who is clearly has put the interests of foreign governments, Russia, Saudi Arabia, China, you name it, right, ahead of the interests of the United States. Turkey, Erdogan, I mean, you know, Erdogan said, hey, I want to slaughter the Kurds in northern Syria, you know, right on the border with southern Turkey, because he's got a bunch of Kurds in southern Turkey that he wants to kill too. Would you please move your troops out of the way? And Trump is like, yeah, sure, we'll pull the troops out. Remember that? When the Kurds were like giving us the finger and shaking their fists at us because we were deserting them. And then, sure enough, Erdogan's troops came in from Turkey and slaughtered them, men, women, and children. All because he told Donald Trump to let him do it. And Trump said, yes, sir. And you know why? Because Erdogan said this in public. He said it in a newspaper interview. He threatened Trump with taking away his 2 hotels, his twin towers in Turkey. And for that, Trump stabbed the Kurds in the back. But in any case, we have an actual madman, an actual racist, an actual agent of foreign governments or friend of foreign governments and enemy of the United States in the White House for 4 years, and it's over. Also, my cat was lost for a few hours this morning, and we found him. So it's a good day for me. Anyway, we'll pick up your phone calls here. We're just all kind of decompressing and discovering our new America. Nancy in Minneapolis. Hey, Nancy, thanks for listening to KTNF. What's up?
Hey, so I think Trump must be tried and convicted. Otherwise, we become enablers. People who have enabled the right wing throughout our history, it comes back to bite us. Lincoln enabled Robert E. Lee to go. And what happens? Lincoln gets assassinated. We get Jim Crow. Slavery by another name. We enabled Nixon with Watergate. Chamberlain appeased Hitler. They got the Blitzkrieg. Reagan with Iran-Contra, no punishment. Bush lied us into a war, no punishment. And now Trump's catastrophe. We nearly lost everything. And if he is let go, we have enabled him. We can't do that. Just like our brothers and Jewish brothers and sisters say, we need justice.
Right, never again.
On the other cheek. Forget that.
We have had 5 consecutive criminal Republican presidents. You had Richard Nixon, who came to power in 1968 by cutting a deal with South Vietnam. We know this now. We've got it on tape. Lyndon Johnson talking to Everett Dirksen. I got the CIA, wiretapping Nixon, and he's telling them, don't go to the Paris peace talks. We can't have peace because if Lyndon Johnson can bring about peace in 1968, then Hubert Humphrey, his vice president, will get elected. So Nixon commits treason to become president and then commits all kinds of crimes, bribery and other crimes while president. He skates. He gets away with it. Jerry Ford wasn't elected, so I'm not including him in this collection, but he pardoned Nixon, which I think was a crime. Then you get Ronald Reagan, who cut a deal according to the president of Iran, according to Abul Hassan Bani Sadr. He wrote about this in the Christian Science Monitor a few years back. It's still on the web. You can read it. He said, he was elected president of Iran in August of 1980 during the campaign when Ronald Reagan was running against Jimmy Carter. And they had been holding the hostages at that point for 7 or 8 months. And he had run on a platform of freeing the hostages immediately. He won 74% of the vote. He goes to the Ayatollahs and says, okay, I won on freeing the hostages, so let's free the hostages. And the Ayatollahs say to him, we can't. We cut a deal with the Reagan campaign. We've got to hold the hostages until after Ronald Reagan's sworn in. And they're sending us spare parts for the American military machine that we've got here that they had sold to the Shah of Iran, that we took away from the Shah. And in fact, they had already started shipping spare tires for F-15s through Israel into Iran before Reagan was even elected. So you've got that crime, the Iran-Contra crime, as you point out, Nancy, and then you get to George W. Bush, who not only lied us into a war, but he was warned. Sandy Berger on this program, Bill Clinton's national security advisor on this program, said that he sat down with I believe it was Condoleezza Rice, whoever was the incoming national security advisor. Whoever it was, in any case, and said, you've got to watch out for bin Laden. He's coming, and he's out on this program. And by the way, Al Gore told that to Vice President Cheney, and Bill Clinton told that to George W. Bush. Your number one thing, Al-Qaeda is going to do something. They're going to do it in the United States. You got to get on this. And so George Bush gave Dick Cheney responsibility for that. And Dick Cheney, his counterterrorism task force, they didn't even bother to meet until August of 2001. Didn't even bother to meet. Instead, Dick Cheney was drawing up plans on who they were going to sell the oil to when they seized Iraq. Oh, and I forgot about George Herbert Walker Bush. He lied us into the war, the first war in Iraq. Saying, "Oh my God, they're taking babies out of incubators and throwing them on the floor and stealing the incubator." It was a lie. It was the daughter of one of the princes of Kuwait. And it was April Gillespie. It was our people who told Saddam Hussein, yeah, sure, go ahead, take Kuwait, because George Herbert Walker Bush wanted to have a little war because Margaret Thatcher taught Ronald Reagan, with the Falklands, hey, if you can have a little war, your popularity goes up, you get reelected. So Reagan had his little war with Grenada. George Herbert Walker Bush had his little 3-day war with Iraq. It was necessary. He thought it was going to get him reelected. Didn't quite work out that way, but. And then we've got Donald Trump, whose crimes are multitudinous. I don't think we have had a legitimately elected Republican president since Dwight Eisenhower, and that was 1952. That was the year after I was born. We have not had a legitimately elected president in 70 years. And it's just mind-boggling when you think about it that way. And we haven't had a Republican president who wasn't a criminal in however many years it is to 1968. It's just incredible. Nancy, I interrupted you. Do you want to finish your thought?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, we keep on repeating history. We must learn from it and stop enabling this catastrophe that's happening.
Yeah, I am completely with you, and it's if the people, we have 147 members of the House of Representatives who literally 197 who voted procedurally, 147 who voted on the final vote not to recognize Joe Biden as president of the United States. Those people, in my mind, are, if not legally criminal, and I don't think that they're legally criminal, are certainly morally and politically criminal, and we need to deal with them. They need to be purged from the Republican Party. They need to be purged from our body politic, not to mention the 11 or 12 senators who were in the same position, and their ringleaders, Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz. We've got some serious reckoning that is necessary, and I'm not just talking about Trump and the hardcore criminals around him, like Jared Kushner, a lifelong grifter, the father of a convicted, imprisoned grifter, or Steve Bannon, the former Goldman Sachs banker who's now accused of a felony that Trump just pardoned. We've got to purge the entire system. Nancy, thank you for the call. Spot on.